before we start, tell me in the comments where you're watching this from, because the story you're about to hear began on a tiny island most people had never even seen on a map, Madeira, an island of rugged mountains, crashing waves, and families who work hard just to survive. In a small house, with barely enough space for 4 children, a boy was born who carried nothing but hunger. Hunger for life, hunger for more. His name was Cristiano Ronaldo. Neighbors would later say, he was different, always running, always chasing. But at that time, all anyone saw was a skinny child kicking a ball made of rags on the street. His mother worked as a cook and cleaner, sometimes taking multiple jobs. His father was a gardener at a local football club, carrying heavy burdens while hiding his own battles with alcohol. Ronaldo would often watch him and think, is this the life I'm destined for? But destiny whispered something else. By the age of 8, he joined Andorrinha, his father's club. He was small, weaker than the other kids. Coaches said he cried when things didn't go his way. Some laughed at him, calling him too fragile. Yet, even in tears, he refused to stop running. One childhood friend remembers, he never played just for fun. He played like the world depended on it. That was the first clue. Madeira was beautiful, but it was also a cage. Opportunities were limited. To many, leaving seemed impossible. But Cristiano's mother believed that her son was meant for something greater. I told him, she recalled, you will not be like your father. You will break free. And so, every kick, every sprint, every goal was more than just a game. It was a promise that this little boy from the island would one day step onto the biggest stages in the world. But here's the twist. With every step forward came new sacrifice. Poverty didn't just build his hunger. It forced him to grow faster than any child should. At 11 years old, he told a teammate, one day, I will be the best in the world. The teammate laughed, but Ronaldo didn't, because in that small house, with walls that leaked when it rained, Cristiano Ronaldo was already building an empire, not with money, but with belief. The boy who had nothing was about to risk everything. Imagine being only 11 years old and told, pack your bags. You're leaving home. That was Cristiano Ronaldo's reality. From the safety of Madeira, he was sent to Lisbon, hundreds of miles away, a city he had never known, full of strangers, bigger boys, and a lifestyle far removed from his island roots. For most children, it would have been overwhelming. For Ronaldo, it was devastating. He cried almost every night. I miss my family, he admitted to one roommate. But homesickness wasn't his only battle. At Sporting CP's academy, the boys were stronger, faster, and already polished. Coaches doubted him. Teammates mocked his accent, calling him the island boy. One even said, he will never make it. But that wasn't the end. Ronaldo fought back not with words, but with training. Hours after others left, he stayed. Sprinting, shooting, lifting weights. Sometimes until midnight. He knew his body wasn't enough, so he built it, muscle by muscle, hour by hour. A former coach revealed, he trained like his life depended on it, and maybe it did. But then came a twist. At just 15, Cristiano faced a heart condition. Doctors told him, you might never play again. The words hit like thunder. For a boy who had sacrificed everything, this was the ultimate test. His mother remembered crying in silence, terrified that her son's dream would be taken away before it even began. Ronaldo himself later said, I was scared. Football was all I had. But fate wasn't finished. Surgeons performed a laser operation, delicate, risky, and uncertain. Within days, Ronaldo was back on the pitch, running, training, proving that nothing could stop him. That operation wasn't just medical. It was symbolic. It was the moment the boy from Madeira declared to the world, I refuse to give up. Still, the challenges didn't stop. Coaches demanded more. Critics said he was too flashy, too skinny. Even his teammates sometimes resented his obsession with perfection. He trained too much, one recalled. It made us look lazy. But Ronaldo had learned something powerful. Every insult could be fuel. Every doubt could be fire. At 16, Sporting's first team finally noticed. His speed, his skill, his hunger. It was impossible to ignore. And in one unforgettable match against Manchester United, he outpaced offenders so badly that United's players begged their coach to sign him. From a crying boy in Lisbon to making legends take notice, that was the first true turning point. The boy who once ran barefoot on Madeira streets now ran faster than anyone else on Europe's biggest fields. And he wasn't just surviving anymore. He was beginning to dominate. But as the star rose, so did the pressure, because greatness always comes with a price. And Ronaldo's price was just August 2003. Old Trafford was buzzing, the theater of dreams alive with anticipation. Manchester United had just signed a teenager, skinny unknown, from Portugal. Many questioned the deal. Why would Sir Alex Ferguson buy a boy no one's heard of, the papers wrote. But then, the boy stepped onto field. Cristiano Ronaldo's debut against Bolton Wanderers wasn't just a game. It was an announcement. With blistering speed, dizzying footwork, and fearless runs, he tore through defenders. The crowd, at first cautious, rose to its feet. "Who is this kid?" they asked. But dazzling skill didn't erase the challenges. Inside the locker room, Ronaldo faced skepticism. Senior players mocked his step-overs, calling them unnecessary. "Pass the ball, kid," one teammate barked. Others whispered he was more showman than footballer. Yet Ronaldo didn't bend. He absorbed every insult, every doubt, and turned it into fuel. One day, he told a teammate, "You'll see why I play this way." And slowly they did. Under the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson, Ronaldo's raw talent was molded into discipline. The coach became like a second father, guiding him through mistakes, pushing him to control his hunger without losing his fire. "I saw in him something special," Ferguson later said. "A determination I had never seen before." The transformation was grueling. Ronaldo spent hours after training, perfecting free kicks, sharpening his physique, running drills alone under floodlights. While others celebrated victories, he prepared for the next battle. But his rise wasn't just skill. It was sacrifice. Nights away from family, endless criticism from media, and the unbearable pain of losing his father in 2005. Ronaldo was only 20. At the funeral, he whispered, "I will make you proud, Pi." That moment became a new fire in his soul. By 2006, the boy mocked for being too flashy was winning trophies. FA Cup, Premier League, Player of the Year awards. Each goal was more than a number. It was revenge against doubt, against poverty, against grief. But then came the moment that would define him. 2008, Champions League final, Moscow. Rain pouring down, the biggest stage of his young career. Ronaldo scored the opening goal, soaring above defenders like a man possessed. But later, during the penalty shootout, he missed. He dropped to his knees, fearing he had cost his team everything. Then a twist. United still triumphed. When the whistle blew, Ronaldo collapsed in tears, clutching the trophy. Relief, redemption, rise. The boy from Madeira was now Europe's rising star. But with fame came something new. Rumors, headlines, temptations. And the whispers began again. He's great, but is he the greatest? For Ronaldo, the answer was clear. Not yet, because this wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning of a battle that would take him to Spain and ignite one of the greatest rivalries the world has ever seen. July 2009, Santiago Bernabéu. 80,000 fans crammed into stadium just to watch a presentation. Not a match, a presentation. Cristiano Ronaldo walked out in white, holding the Real Madrid jersey, greeted like a king. It was the most expensive transfer in football history. 94 million euros. The world's eyes were fixed on him. And with that price tag came a question heavier than any defender. Could he live up to it? At first, the answer wasn't clear. Spanish media mocked him. Too arrogant, they said. Too expensive. Rival fans booed him every time he touched the ball, even in Madrid's locker room. Some teammates kept their distance, unsure if this outsider could become one of them. And then came the shadow of Lionel Messi, Barcelona's golden boy. Small, quiet, brilliant. While Ronaldo dazzled with power and speed, Messi danced with elegance and ease. Their rivalry wasn't manufactured. It was born on the field. Every weekend, every El Clasico, it became a duel. Strength versus grace, fire versus ice. But beneath the goals and trophies, something deeper was happening. The rivalry wasn't just about who was better. It was about who could endure more. The pressure, the critics, the endless comparisons. Messi is natural, some said. Ronaldo forces it. That phrase haunted him. And yet, Ronaldo refused a break. His obsession grew. He trained harder. He demanded more. Teammates remember him shouting in practice, "Again! Again!" until it's perfect. Some admired it. Others feared it. But nobody could ignore it. Still, the struggle wasn't only external. Off the pitch, Ronaldo wrestled with loneliness. Fame had isolated him. Family was far away. Tabloids hunted him, dissecting every move. He smiled for cameras, but in private he admitted, "Sometimes I feel empty, even when I win." That was his second turning point, because instead of collapsing under the weight, Ronaldo turned pain into fuel. From 2011 to 2018, he transformed Madrid for Champions League titles. Countless goals, records shattered. Each El Clasico became a battlefield. Each goal against Barcelona a declaration. I am here. I will not be overshadowed. But perhaps the defining moment came in 2014, Lisbon, Champions League final. Real Madrid versus Atletico. 90 minutes passed, then extra time. Ronaldo scored the final goal, ripping his shirt off, roaring to the crowd. It wasn't just victory. It was catharsis. Yet, even with glory, doubt followed. Critics argued, Messi is pure talent. Ronaldo is manufactured. But to millions, that was the point. Ronaldo wasn't born perfect. He built himself. Through sweat, through obsession, through scars. And inside that rivalry with Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo discovered not just how great he could be, but how much he was willing to suffer to reach it. Because greatness, he learned, is not given, it's taken. For years, Cristiano Ronaldo had conquered clubs. Manchester, Madrid, Champions League glory. But there was one wound he carried, his country, Portugal. The small nation that loved him, criticized him, and demanded of him. You are great with clubs, they said, but where is your greatness for us? That criticism cut deeper than any insult, because for Ronaldo, wearing the Portugal jersey was personal. It was his father's pride, his mother's dream, his island's hope. And so, Euro 2016 became more than a tournament. It was destiny calling. Portugal stumbled through the group stage, draw after draw. Critics laughed. They don't deserve to be here. But Ronaldo never flinched. We keep fighting, he told his teammates. And they did, step by step, penalty by penalty, until somehow they reached the final. The stage was Paris. The opponent, France. The hosts, the favorites. 90,000 fans in the stadium, millions watching across the globe. Portugal's dream stood on fragile legs. Then came disaster. 20 minutes into the final, Ronaldo fell. A brutal tackle. His knee twisted. He tried to stand, tried to run, but collapsed in tears. Cameras captured the moment. The world's strongest man, sobbing, refusing to accept the truth. The captain was broken. As he was carried off, he whispered, "Win this for me, win this for Portugal." On the bench, with his knee wrapped, Ronaldo transformed. No longer a player, he became a coach, shouting instructions, urging his brothers forward, living every kick from the sidelines. "Push, push," he screamed. The pain on his face matched the fire in his voice. And then the miracle. Eder, a substitute few believed in, struck the ball from distance. Goal. Portugal led. The final whistle blew. Portugal, champions of Europe. Ronaldo, on crutches, lifted the trophy. His tears flowed again, but this time they were tears of triumph. From Madeira's streets to the summit of Europe, he had given his nation glory. But the story didn't end there. Ronaldo carried Portugal to the Nations League in 2019. More records, more milestones. He proved that national pride wasn't about statistics. It was about sacrifice, about showing up when it mattered most. And in those moments, even as harsh as critics admitted, Cristiano Ronaldo had not only conquered football's giants, he had conquered history itself. Cristiano Ronaldo's story didn't end with trophies. It didn't end with records or even with goals. His true legacy lies in something deeper. Because when the boy from Madeira became a man, he carried more than his own dreams. He carried the weight of millions who believed that struggle could be turned into strength. From Manchester to Madrid, from Turin to Saudi Arabia, every chapter of his career proved the same truth. Greatness is not given. Greatness is built through tears, through scars, through sacrifice. Ronaldo inspired children in poverty to believe. He showed that discipline can defy destiny. He reminded the world that hunger, when guided by purpose, can transform an ordinary boy into an eternal legend. Today, debates still rage. Messi or Ronaldo? Who is the greatest? But perhaps that was never the real question. The real question is, what do we learn from him? That quitting is never an option. That setbacks are fuel. That the impossible can bend when faced with relentless belief. And maybe that's why his journey matters beyond football, because somewhere a child in a small village is watching him and whispering, if he can, maybe I can too. Cristiano Ronaldo, the boy who refused to give up, the man who became more than a player, the legend who showed us all what it means to fight until the end.